So this is going to be a short video to help you with the zombie apocalypse investigation. So the idea is, in the very first question, initially there's one zombie, so we'll make a table where X is the number of days from time 0, so when X is 0 we have one zombie, and Z, or Z as a function of X, is the number of zombies at that time. So initially there's one. I'm not very good at drawing, but there we go. There's a zombie, and then that zombie infects one new person per day. And now there are two, so there's another one. And then they're each going to infect one more person. So then by day 2, each of these infects 2 new people, so there'll be 4 in total. And then by day 3, how many are there going to be? Well, we've got 4, they each infect 1 new person, so now we've got 8. And we can keep going, and hopefully you recognize this sequence. This is a geometric sequence you've seen before in year 9. The formula for this, for the xth term of this sequence, is 2 to the power x. So the formula asked for in question 1a is this formula. And then you're asked to do various other things with this. And you're asked to do things like work out how many days it will take to infect a certain number of people. So in order for there to be 1,000 zombies, you have to solve an equation like this. But you haven't learnt any methods for solving this other than sort of trial and improvement, which is how I'm expecting you to do it. But just for interest, this can be solved to find x exactly. One way to do that is to take logs, and your calculator can do this for you. So your calculator probably has 2 log buttons, or possibly one of them comes from shift. So one probably looks like this, and then maybe somewhere else there's another log button that looks like this. You want this one for now. So if you use this one and enter log, and then the small number is going to be 2, and then the big number is going to be 1,000, this is x. So this is the exact value, which should be 9.96 something. A different way, using the other button, if you enter log 1,000 over log 2, that should give you the same answer. Again, if you do that, you'll get 9.96578 something. So we don't have to know this, but it's just, if you're interested in how to solve equations of the form a to the x equals b, the solution is given by log base a of b. So what does this mean? Well, log is defined to be the inverse, log base a of x is defined to be the inverse function of a to the x. So, yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail about this because it's A-level, but certainly you can solve equations like this using the log button. Okay, so now let's move on to what happens if each zombie affects 2 people. So we'll go back to x and z of x. So initially now, we still have 1 zombie initially. They're now infecting 2, so then we're going to get 3 in total. Initially we had 1, and now we've got 3. And then there are some more people who are still normal people over here, and they're about to become zombies. So then each of these 3 infects 3 new people who now become zombies. So now we're going to have they each infect 2, so they're going to infect 6 people in total. So now we're going to have 9, and then each of those 9 is going to infect 2 new people each. So each of the 9 will infect 2, so that's 18 new infections, so that's 27 zombies in total. And then 4 is going to be 81. And notice each time here we're multiplying by 3. So again, this might be a sequence you recognize. These are powers of 3. This time the formula is given by 3 to the power x. And you can look at other cases. If each one infects 4, that's one of the other questions, I think. And now we can say, okay, what if we had a different number to start with? What if now, let's start with 2 zombies, and we'll go back to the case where they just infect 1 new person. X is the number of days, so this should be 0, but now we're starting with 2. They're each infecting 1 again, like the beginning. So they each infect 1, we get 4. They each infect 1, we get 8. They each infect 1, we get 16, and so on. So this is the same table as we had at the beginning, but each of the entries is doubled, because it was before 1, 2, 4, 8. It was 1 behind. So what's the formula for this? Well, these numbers were 2 to the x. These numbers here in red are just double of the numbers 2 to the x. So it's 2 times 2 to the x. Or if you know the laws of indices very well, you can add the indices to get 2 to the x plus 1. And we can do exactly the same thing if we start with a different number other than 2. If we start with, say, 11, we're going to have 11 and then 22 and so on. And it'll, in that case, we would get 11 times 2 to the x if we start with 11. So if the formula is a times b to the x, a good question to ask is, what do a and b represent? Well, a is always the number of zombies we start with, and b, well, if b is 2, that was when they each infect 1 new person. If b is 3, that's when they each infect 2 new people. So b is 1 more than number of new people each zombie infects per day. Okay, so hopefully that helps a bit with answering some of the questions in the investigation.